do my best, trying to convey into words what I've learned after starting to wake up from narcissistic abuse. As I had mentioned before, it was not until I was able to understand the spiritual component of narcissistic abuse that I could properly understand the scope of narcissism. This is the first video about my experience and recollection from trauma-based mind abuse. I understand that this may not resonate with people who have experienced different kind of narcissistic abuse. Nevertheless, there are many people out there who have had similar experiences with trauma-based mind abuse, and this video is for you to be validated and to wake up. For a long time in my life, I could never understand the reason I had blackouts, from my infancy to adulthood. I could only remember a few moments of some events. It feels like when you're out in a stormy night, and when the lightning occurs, it lights up, so you can see around you during a fleeting glimpse. I would get about 5 seconds when I just could not recall anything of my past, not even the second before, just like I had no past and my life started at the very second when I'm trying to remember. It's like facing the nothing in your mind, not being able to picture even a shape or a familiar acquaintance, and it's quite stressful. One of the worst parts of such memory blackout is that you lose reference of time. However, I can now finally remember what was once blocked in my mind. When I was about 5 to 10 years old, I remember being in the car with my father and mother going to a place twice a month, late at night. They never said much about it when they were going there. I recalled going there, but I never remembered coming back from there. I vaguely remember them mentioning something like going to a church or temple that they had to go. The same people I saw in those meetings were the same people doing business with my father. My father became a very successful businessman, creating an elevator company with thousands of employees and international sales, which was later purchased by ThyssenKrupp. Of course, I never had any benefit from being able to work on the company or any other benefit for that reason. I also remember my mother going late at night into the factory, performing some kind of craft and accompanied by 2 other people. One of them was a psychiatrist who was heavy in the occult practices, and a woman who, until her death, was used by international government agencies for mind and occult experiments. I also remember my father and the psychiatrist sponsoring an international cybernetic conference with guests like Arthur Clarke and Gordon Pask. I now can remember that my family was heavily involved with the Rosicrucian and other similar societies. When I was 15, I was granted a special permission by my parents to become a Rosicrucian myself. I didn't know on what I was getting into and why. My brother and mother were already members for quite some time. From what I can now recall, the place my parents were taking me at night had to do with me getting into the occult, as they had some kind of covenant with them to offer their child to the occult. Most likely, the trauma-based mind abuse started when I was in my mother's womb. That may correlate with when I was born. I had to be put into the incubator. What I can now recall and understand from all these memories coming to my consciousness is that my narcissistic family was very involved in the occult. The occult is linked with Lucifer, and that's now how I understand the link between demonic activities and narcissists. Maybe my parents were just middle or lower level pawns on the narcissistic hierarchical occult matrix. I can now understand that my father sold his soul to Lucifer in exchange for money and for fame. My mother, therefore, became an enabler for demonic activities in the family, contaminating my brother and sister in the process. My siblings and the immediate family involved in this network of demonic activities were also enablers in exchange for money and for resources given by my father. That's the reason, after I'd been discarded by them, no one has ever approached me asking how I am, inviting me for a meal, or even calling on birthdays or Christmas. If you ask how I survived all these trauma-based mind abuse, I can only say that I went into coma from the abuse. I was pronounced dead upon getting into the hospital. My mother and my siblings did visit me in the ICU. When my father came to visit me, the chief nurse had forbidden his presence because of his toxic remarks in the unit. I can now say that I was saved by God, and I'm here to tell my experience recovering from the narcissistic abuse. In summary, trauma-based mind abuse can start as early as during pregnancy. The fetus is susceptible to a wide variety of stimulus from the mother and from the environment. There is a group of narcissists associated with the occult. The occult is linked with Lucifer, lies, and deception, which, in turn, is the very source of the narcissistic core structure. These kind of narcissists cause trauma-based mind abuse to a child to create an alter ego. Narcissists create massive amount of abuse to the child with the sole purpose to see order out of chaos, becoming real. In this case, the victim may not only keep on being used as a supply by narcissists, but also keep on working as a puppet for them to carry out whatever malevolent plan they wish, without them being exposed for who they are, and for the consequences of what they do. I am now integrating myself, and becoming finally free. But there are a lot of other victims out there, who are still struggling with this kind of narcissistic abuse. Some who are dying from such trauma-based mind abuse. There are children who are still being abused and used as human slaves, especially for pedophiles. I hope this video helps you to start understanding the scope of narcissism and to wake up to what these demonic creatures truly are. Thank you for watching this video. Please remember, knowledge is freedom.